So you're a young diplomat in Moscow, quasi-diplomat, at least you had a diplomatic passport. The American ambassador, Chip Bolin,
Yes.
is having a 4th of July reception.
Ah, yes.
And who shows up but
Nikita.
Nikita Khrushchev?
What happened is Khrushchev kept going to these parties, and we wondered at the embassy whether he would come to the American National Day reception. And on July 3rd, the ambassador got word from the foreign ministry that Khrushchev and his entire Politburo was going to come to pay their respects on the July 4th holiday.
Including Marshal
Zhukov, the Marshal of the Minister of Defense. So Ambassador Bolin had 3 other people at the embassy, which was woefully understaffed, who spoke Russian, and each one of us got a member of the Politburo to look after, and mine was Marshal Zhukov. Marshal Zhukov was about 5'5" in height and width, and I was 6'3".
And how old was Marvin Kalb at the time?
26. And so I'm to look after Marshal Zhukov. I was a PFC in the United States Army, and the idea of me looking after a marshal in the Red Army was absurd. But I did it. I planned for it. I made a little speech when we were introduced, and then I took him in the back, and we had a marvelous 40-minute conversation.
But you also had a drinking problem.
We had this wonderful conversation, and in the read that I gave on Zhukov, I found out this guy really liked his vodka, and I didn't drink. So to avoid the start of World War III, I had to find a way of giving him vodka and giving me water. And I enlisted the help of Tang, who was a Chinese-born butler who worked for the ambassador. Who worked for the ambassador, and I went to see him, and I said, Tang, we got a big problem. The marshal likes vodka, I drink water, how do we work it out? And he came up with a marvelous tray that was sort of around like this and in, and he would hold it this way. And when he came over to Marshal Zhukov or to me, on this rim was the vodka, and on this rim was the water. So that was the way he served. Vodka to the marshal, water to me, and he had 8 vodkas, belted back like that. Dodna, wait, right back. And I had 8 waters. And Khrushchev then signaled that he wanted us to leave. And so the 2 of us walked over, and Marshal Zhukov was a bit tipsy. And I noticed that, and I stepped back for a minute. And he said to Khrushchev, Nikita Sergeyevich, he said, I have finally found a young American who can drink like a Russian. Khrushchev thought that was very, very funny. He began to laugh. The whole Politburo laughed. And then he began to call me Peter the Great because he asked me, how tall are you? I said, I'm 6 centimeters shorter than Peter the Great. He loved that line. And he began to call me that on a regular basis whenever he saw me. Even, Tom, years later when I went back for CBS, he would sort of spot me. I remember on one trip that Khrushchev made to Hungary, to Austria. And we were in Vienna, and he would not allow the reporters to get near him. But he saw me. And he said, what idiot Pyotr Veliki? And so I was allowed in.